All right, back on the excavator project, got the car painted and whatnot, and freed me up with some time over here. And I've come up with a pretty good solution to the generator issue that a lot of people are having. I found that I have plenty of room to mount a generator right here. There was one hydraulic line located right here that was pointed this way, and the hose kind of looped around, so I just loosened it and pushed the hose back, and it fit perfectly back around. I guess it was just a decision that they make at the factory. Yours may have it, but mine, or yours may not have it, but mine sure did. So I'll show you what I've come up with. Obviously, if you've watched the video, you can see that, or the past video, there's the pulley that is mounted where the recoil would be. And this is basically the arrangement right here. Well, this is the arrangement. This is what you have once you remove the recoil, and this is a pulley. This is the first one that I used, which is a smaller diameter than the one I'm currently using. The bigger the better, I think. And you'll see it's right over here. Probably a little bit easier to see when it's running and whatnot, and I'll show you the bracketry. Okay, so here's the bracket that I came up with. As it says, the alternator bracket that I've got from Amazon. It's welded on this piece of 1/4-inch plate steel. And these holes right here are going to be on your excavator. And these holes line up perfectly, and I will show you. Okay, so here we are. This just fits right in here very nicely. Oops, just like that. In here, like that. And then we just bolt that in place, and I'll show you what I have for the alternator. All right, so the alternator is going to sit in the cradle basically right here. All right, so there you have it, and I could use some different fasteners here. This is quite long enough, but that's the issue with this project. I don't have quite the right fasteners. Some are a little bit longer, shorter, and whatnot, but it all works for right now. Anyway, so the alternator just will flop back and forth on this plate, as you can see. And the beauty of it is it will fit right in there already attached here. These are just nylon locking nuts, and these are kind of just snugged. They're not tight or anything, and I can't see them rattling loose or doing anything bad. So I'll show you how it goes in. Okay, so the whole assembly will just drop right in the hole, just like this. It's just one-handed, and it ain't easy. Set the old phone over here. There we go. You just have to kind of shoehorn it in here. That can be the problem. Sorry about the little ride with the phone, but at any rate, it sits right in here, just like that. And I'll get some bolts in here, and you can see what I'm talking about. All right, now you can see with the bolt holes in, you get a little better idea. There's 3 of them in there, which holds the plate down. I really can't see there being too much of anything that's gonna really cause this thing to be a problem. Okay, that's with the belt on, and there's the tensioner right there. It is attached to a piece of plate steel that goes right underneath of here and straight across with a bolt. And let me show you the bottom side, so you can see where the kind of bolts line up, or where they fit in the bottom of the excavator. All right, you can see the alternator right there, and there's the plate, and the bolts are right here is one, and then 1 and 2 right over here. I had originally hoped I could maybe put like a self-tensioner, or I should say a one of these tensioners in here, and it broke. Is what happened. It's got like a cheap little tit on here that holds that spring and whatnot in here, and it's garbage. And it had bolted on here, and I had the plate a little extended, and I never even got a chance to use it. It broke, and I said, well, you know what, the heck with that. It's not gonna, I can't rely on something that's gonna break to pieces. So I omitted that, and it works fine anyway. It was just kind of one of those things that's like, well, it would really be neat if it had a self-tensioner on it, but I don't think it's needed, to be quite honest with you. And I can't use this. I can't use the fan anymore because the pulley's now larger. So here's a look at the back side of the alternator in here. And it's super, super, super duper simple, to be honest with you, electrically. It just takes one wire, a sense wire, and I'll plug that in and show it to you. And then of course, the large stud goes to the positive wire. And I don't have that hooked up right now, but I will in a moment. And is all I did with this wire right here was to go up to the ignition. Like I said, go to the ignition and then just find the hot wire when it's turned on, and that's the sense wire that goes to the alternator. It happens to be a red and a white wire, and the other wire that you see on here is just a temporary hookup just for this voltmeter, which I'm eventually going to be mounting in the cab. All right, so speaking of cabs, I'll show you here. I bought this cab in Orlando from a guy named Jordan, and I think that's pretty much all they do over there. And to sweeten the deal, I gave him my old canopy that went on it, but I got this, I think I said, I don't know if I told you, $700. And so that's definitely going on for sure. Really nice inside here, really. I mean, for the money, I don't know that you could even come close to even making something like this. It's just, my neighbor joked around, my new neighbor, he's not even moved in yet, he's building a house behind me. He joked around, he goes, that's like a phone booth. And I thought, yeah, you're probably right. Okay, so back in the air conditioning, which is damn nice. And speaking of air conditioning, here it is. This thing is absolutely famous, to be quite honest with you. I'm not so sure if this is a scroll or if it's a rotary screw. I can't find it. Some people say it's a rotary screw compressor, which is pretty cool. It draws such little current that it barely even, the generator doesn't even really know it's even in there. When I first decided to do this, I thought, well, I'm probably gonna have to have a separate system just to run this because it's gonna have such a heavy load on it. Although it is a 100 amp alternator, I don't toy with this stuff too often, so I really wasn't so sure. And I actually thought about putting a battery over here in this little compartment area right here, but I thought I'd try it first and just see how it acted, if it was going to be a problem or not. And there's no need for another battery. So the other thing I've done here, which I haven't done it, but I've selected a cooler for this, and you can see it's got an R on it, so you know it's really, really good. Just kidding. Anyhow, this is going to bolt right here, but only on the inside. It's perfect dimensions to cover up those holes, and I want to put, or I would say I want to build a shroud to house like 2 of these fans that I was using on this particular, on this particular cooler here. But that will be a video for another day for sure. Any rate, speaking of coolers and these excavators and the heat and all these crazy things, right? That's how many videos are on YouTube of guys putting fans on these things. I mean, there has to be maybe 75 to 100 of them, maybe even more than that. I think everybody that gets one of these things, they're kind of an older guy. I'm an old guy too. I'm almost 62. Used to be in the compressed air field, worked on rotary screw compressors and refrigerated compressed air dryers. So I know about plumbing and electrical and all the other stuff, but I think a lot of these guys are kind of bored. You know, they're like, they want to showcase themselves working on things, and they're showing them screwing things in. And and all the things that they've done. And I've made comments. It's like, you know, you put all these fans on there, and that's great. It definitely doesn't hurt. But I don't know how you can operate this thing in a 90-degree ambient temperature for any more than an hour without it overheating. And even with this cooler on here, right here, I mean, it's a good sized cooler, and it was maintaining, I don't know, probably somewhere in the 110 degrees Celsius range, or excuse me, 100 degree range, supposedly. I don't know if I believe it or not. I want to put a temperature gauge on this thing. I actually think it was probably running closer to like maybe 120, 130 with this cooler on here. And I don't think it's going to run cooler with this smaller cooler, which is designed differently. This is more of a cooler. They call it I think a brazed plate cooler, something like that nature. It's the same ones that are used on air compressors. It sure looks like it. This will definitely handle a lot more pressure than this, which was just designed for glycol. It's just a radiator, but it doesn't really matter on the return side. And I'm really thinking that I'm going to probably keep both of them. Install this one on the side and then incorporate this one back on top. This thing gets so hot. Even with this cooler on the other day, I was using it, helping out the neighbor. I was digging a trench for him, and I actually made $200, which is pretty cool. Anyhow, I was digging the trench, and the cylinders are almost so hot you couldn't even hold your hand on them. And I don't know if that's a normal thing. I can't see it being too normal, but any rate, the air conditioner works great, and I've been doing some testing. You can see the leads here and everything. I'm going to hook all this stuff up, open up these garage doors, and I'm going to run this thing, and you'll see it doesn't have to go just a little bit over its little idle speed, not even close to half throttle, and it'll run that air conditioner all day long. It's pretty impressive, to be quite honest with you. All right, so I got it wired in to the battery, and the negative just connects over here to the bottom side of this disconnect that they put in here. I'll show you the air conditioner, the way it comes with the cover and whatnot and different things. So I got it on eBay. I think it was like $500 or $600, which is pretty cheap. It's got a remote control and also has a control panel right inside here, which you can just operate by yourself. I haven't even tried the remote control yet. So it's got this nice white plastic cover that goes over the top of it, which will fit perfectly on the cab. And then it comes with some insulation, a couple of brackets, some nuts and bolts, some hoses, and I don't really even know what this is all about. One thing it doesn't come with is an instruction manual. So you don't know how much refrigerant it takes, what kind it takes, although it takes 134. You can tell by the fittings. There's no information. I mean, there's nothing. On the Google, or excuse me, the eBay listing, it had mentioned it will pull up to, I think, full load at 60 amps, but it's an inverter type, and so, you know, it starts out a little bit of a crawl and then it compensates the load. At least that's what it's supposed to do. Seen another guy today in a video. It's kind of crazy. Couldn't even believe it myself, but he was taking these out of here and drilling them out and tapping them. I thought, well, that's pretty crazy, but he was an older fella. He had plenty of time on his hands, I'm sure, you know, but it's all there. They're 8mm. Anyone wants to know what size these are? They're 8mm. Okay, so when I run it here, this gauge reads slightly high. I've got a multimeter over here that I've been using, but it gets you in the ballpark. You know what I mean? You can't expect much for a gauge like this. Anyhow, the characteristics are, without a load, the alternator charges the battery in here to, what is it? Right around 14.6 volts without a load on it, and then with the load with the air conditioner, it's about 14.3. I'm going to run this. I'm not going to talk too much. I'm going to show you the air conditioner. I'm going to probably run it for probably about, I don't know, maybe 15 or 20 minutes, something around there. Varying different loads with the engine and whatnot, which you may encounter or not. I like to run this thing at a pretty low RPM, you know, and even when I was talking to the guy in Orlando, Jordan, you know, I was trying to explain to him what I was going to do here, and he made the comment, you know, you don't really want to run them wide open. They become really, really jerky, and they sure do. And then just the heat you generate and whatnot. But we're talking about this and the different air conditioner and whatnot. And I think the offering that they have for China is, I don't know if it's an inverter type or not, but he had made the comment that if I could come up with a boltable type kit that you could bolt an alternator on, which I have here, he seems to think that there's quite an interest for it. So anyway, we're going to run this here, and I'll pause it, and we'll take a look at a few different things. One thing I'm going to start here, this has a choke, but there's no choke lever. Some of them have a choke lever on here. Also seen another video where a guy said these are plastic, but they sure look like they're metal to me. Maybe aluminum, I don't know, but they're not plastic. Anyhow, so I have to incorporate a choke on here, or a choke linkage rather, because you can't really even get to this when you put a cab on it. It's not too bad to start, you know, if you can reach your hand here, hit the start button and jump on it, but so I'm going to definitely do something with that. So nevertheless, it's been run already, so it's slightly warm, so it should start up without too much issue. That is it for the test, and I am completely convinced this is one very, very nicely designed system here. I can tell you that right now. The compressor never gets, I mean, you can hold your hand on this all day long. I mean, I don't even know that it gets maybe 10 degrees over ambient temperature. A little bit hotter on the discharge side. It's got nice, flexible lines, so you're not going to worry about something breaking. Someone did their homework. The inverter's cooled by the refrigerant, and I mean, it does an awesome, awesome job. Thanks for watching, guys. The next video will probably be installing this guy way over there in the woods. It needs to be installed bad. Back over here on this dude here with this on the roof and enjoying life. See ya.